welcome again to Guitar Vocalist, the channel that's all about singing and playing guitar at the same time and just having a total all-in-one performance, being a self-confident, reliant musician. If you like what you hear, like what you see, be sure to hit the like and subscribe buttons. And let's go ahead and begin with the topic of the day. This is just like a list, just top 10 things, top 10 mistakes that musicians make. Now these are in no particular order. It's really just sort of, these are 10 big ones, all right? So number one is hoping that gear will solve all your problems. Okay, and this is something I see really often. A lot of guitarists are at fault for this because there's a lot. Let's be honest. There's effect pedals, there's distortion, reverb, delay, there's compression, there's just everything. There's like different amplifiers. There's marketing. Get insane sound. Get this. Get that. And you just want to buy it all, you know, you just want to try all kinds of stuff. It's understandable, there's nothing wrong with that, but at the end of the day, if you can't play the thing, no effect is going to save you, you know what I mean? Like, this is why you see me playing really often on acoustic guitar, because I'm really not concerned with that. I'm just concerned with how well can I play guitar. And after I know I can play it in a raw acoustic sort of way, then I'll think about, well, this would sound good if it was with an effect. Oh, this would sound good if it was with distortion. So yeah, I gotta tell you, like, it's a huge mistake. Don't make this mistake. There's really no reason why. It doesn't make any sense. Like, you shouldn't try and cover up your bad performance with effects, ever. This also goes whenever you're recording, like your vocals or your guitar. Make sure the recording sounds good. Don't do it and say, that's okay, the reverb will take care of it later, you know? No, like, it doesn't work that way. You have to sound good by default, and the other stuff just sort of accents your sound. It helps you create or define your sound, especially for vocals. For guitar, I understand that like distorted guitar is a sound all its own, but don't use it to cover up your lack of skill is my point. Another mistake, all right, number 9, sticking to only one genre. You don't have to like everything, but you have to at least appreciate the musicianship or musical quality of some other genres. You have to understand, like, wow, the rhythms are pretty unique in this genre, or there's some pretty killer harmonies here, or, you know, whatever. The mood behind the genre is great. I see why people listen to it, even though it's not my thing. You gotta understand this kind of thing, and it's a huge problem for many people, because this is something I saw in the metal community a lot, because I like metal. A lot of metalheads are like, yeah, I only listen to like metal, all the pop stuff is garbage. It's not. It's a billion-dollar industry. There's geniuses writing in that industry. There's people making a lot of money and making their songs be reachable by an audience. If it's so easy, why can't you just go write a pop song? You don't want to be a sellout? That's a really convenient excuse, right? So I gotta tell you, I'm not saying that I'm happy with a lot of the music industry stuff. I hate how it's really homogenized. I hate how there's so similar sounds. I want to like be kind of a rebel and alternative when it comes to popular music, because I don't like how everything has become so similar. But at the same time, I'm not going to be one of those people that just goes and says, yeah, like, that music is crap anyway, you're a sellout if you listen to it, it's commercialized. There's a reason people like it, and you need to appreciate it for what it is. Mistake number 8, playing or singing out of tune. And what I mean by that is, you probably think you're not doing it, right? We all think we're not. But you know what happens with your guitar, right? Like, you hit it against the wall for a second, and one of the nuts went a little bit this way, you're a little bit flat, and you're like, this chord doesn't sound quite like a D minor, but like it's pretty much a D minor, so let me just not worry about this. Or you're singing and you're like, well, that sounds pretty good. I mean, like, okay, fine, I was a bit flat on that A, but whatever. No, like, you should focus on not singing out of tune, because then you will be annoyed when things are out of tune, and you're going to hear it, and that is going to train your ear, and you're going to be able to hear music in a very accurate, good way. But if you train yourself that there's leeway within each note, then you're basically telling yourself, it doesn't matter, like, it's a bit out of tune, but whatever. And this causes problems. I mean, you can't play with people easily that way. Your ear doesn't get developed. Your guitar strays to like something between an E and an E flat, you know, over time. And you'll try and play with songs. You'll be like, why is this out of tune all the time? So don't do that. It's terrible for your ear training. Okay, number 7, not realizing that you have an audience. Okay, this kind of goes hand in hand with those people that are elitists that say, like, you know, I don't listen to pop music, or I don't like pop music or whatever. I'm never gonna write sellout pop songs. All right, man. But when you're writing a song and you're recording it, who's gonna listen to it, right? Like, you're not doing it just for yourself. If you are, fine, rock on. But like, you're probably not. I assume you hope somebody's gonna listen to this song at some point in time, and they're gonna be like, all right, like that sounded amazing, man. Like that song spoke to me. That was good, right? So if you're doing that, then why would you also be one of those elitists that says, yeah, I'm gonna just do my like progressive metal style project in my room, and because I'm not a sellout and I don't do that stuff, and then you have these like 8-minute long songs, and everyone's like, yeah, that's pretty intricate, right? And you talk to a few friends that like play music, and they're like, oh yeah, cool, man, that sounds good. And then that's as far as you're gonna make it, because you need to think about like, your songs are made to be consumed by someone else at the end of the day. And no, they don't need to be the same monotonous pop garbage, you know? But at the same time, you need to think about people are gonna hear this stuff. So, you know, you have to make it accessible in some way or another. Otherwise, you're not gonna have an audience. All right, mistake number 6. Mistake number 6 is the exact opposite of the previous one. It's not recognizing that your audience doesn't need to be fed the same pop industry garbage, okay? So that's in contrast to the previous one. You gotta find a sweet balance between the two, right? Between an intricate, interesting musical melody that's unique and something that's accessible for people. So what I mean by this is don't just pick it up, pick the guitar up, learn 4 chords, and then just there you go, you have your choruses and you're done forever. Switch it up, make it interesting, try and do like things like key changes, try and play in 5/4 time instead of 4/4, you know? Try and put in a major 7 chord, try and put in a 9 or an 11 or something like that, you know, a sus2. Like switch things up, change different melodies, try different guitar tuning. All that stuff is great. Try using some unique instrument people haven't heard before, like some African drums or something. All of that is great. Just make it accessible while you do it, right? Find a sweet balance between something that's very intricate and musical to something which is pop garbage that's recycled over and over again. That's all. Number 5 is plateauing and not growing, okay? So what I mean by this is every time you pick up your instrument or every time you sing, you sing and play your 5-10 songs, and then you're like, okay, well that was fun. You put it down and just walk away and, you know, watch TV or something. No, you're not growing when you do that. Give yourself a challenge, like, I'm gonna try this song in drop D. Or give yourself a challenge, like, I'm gonna try this song in another genre and I'll try and convert it to be, it's a metal song, I'll make it reggae, right? You know, give yourself a challenge like that and grow. Give yourself a project, like what I'm doing right now with YouTube. Like, I have a project to give you information, data, stuff I've learned about how to actually learn to play music in a good way, right? If you give yourself a project like that, you're gonna continue to grow because you're gonna challenge yourself. Don't just sit there and plateau and play the same 5-10 songs and wonder why you're not improving. Number 4 is thinking you need to be good before you put something out. I made this mistake a lot. I was like, I won't sing with anyone, I won't do anything until my voice sounds presentable. And I didn't sing for years because I wasn't happy with my voice. Like, not in front of anyone. Like, I sang in my car or like in my room, but that was it. You don't have to be that good. Your audience is gonna be your 3 friends that also play an instrument, and like maybe, I don't know, like your spouse or your significant other, your family, your brother or something like that, right? Like, that's gonna be the people. They don't care if you're good. You can just be like, look what I learned. There's this cool new thing I'm trying. That's it. You don't have to worry about that. Like, think small scale first, and then move up from that to I'm gonna play it for, in front of friends at a party, right? Or like, I'm gonna play in this random bar where I know the owner, right? And move your way up. Don't just think about like, well, I'm not good enough to release like, my song, because you're never gonna grow. Release a crappy song, and then release it in the context of, here is my crappy song. Don't release it in the context of, oh, I'm such a good writer, here's my great musical piece, and then everyone says, that's a crappy song. Just manage the expectations of who's listening to your music. That's it. So don't think you need to be good before you put anything out anywhere. Number 3 is inconsistent schedule. What I mean by this is, it's way better to practice every day for 10 minutes than once a week for 70 minutes, right? It's the same amount of time, but you need to just like build muscle memory. You need to build muscle memory in your voice. You need to build muscle memory in your fingers. It's a consistent thing. It has to become a habit. I play every day, or I try to. You know, I've had periods where I haven't, and it's hurt me. So it's better to like have some kind of a consistent, I'll play at least 10 minutes a day, sing at least 10 minutes a day thing happening than it is to play just once a week. Number two is brand worship, okay? I meet these people all the time, all right? These people that go to the Guitar Center, they go to the store and they're like, Schecter is a bunch of garbage. They use really garbage wood, you know? I don't like Schecter. Ibanez is way better, you know? Gibson, they have the Les Paul. That's a classic brand. Look at these musicians. They use Gibson, right? So you should all use a Gibson Les Paul or Gibson SG. Why are you using this stuff, right? They have this brand worship. I only use tube amplifiers, but they have to be like Bogner lights, and they have to be the, you know, they just say I have to only use this stuff, and it's holding you back. Like, there's nothing wrong with having preference and liking all this stuff, but first off, you probably don't know what you're talking about, number one, all right? You probably just have no idea what you're saying, because you don't know the science behind wavelengths and amplitudes. Like, come on, be honest, man. Don't sit there and explain that this light is better than that light, or this amp is better than that amp, because they use whatever. You don't probably know the science of it at all. 99% chance that you don't. And yet, you probably just, that brand spoke to you, you had a friend that said that's a killer guitar, I only play on those, or some musician you idolize said it, and now that's what you're doing. Don't focus on brand worship, just pick stuff up. Does it sound good to you? If not, put it down, and if yes, keep trying it, keep trying stuff like it. Ask people what's similar to this but better, and over time you'll develop knowledge of what brands work for you, and you'll develop the knowledge of why they're good. And if you want to nerd out over it and understand things like frequencies and wavelengths and all that, and you know, wattage and all that stuff, do it. It's fine. It's not bad, okay? But don't just worship a brand blindly without knowing what you're talking about and spend hundreds of dollars buying these different things that you don't understand why you're buying them, just because you're doing some brand worship. It distracts from the actual goal of being a musician, which is to play good music and to be sort of a connoisseur of all of this gear as well. And number one, I think this is really important message for people to say, because people always say that I'm not about the money, I'm not doing this for the money. Do it for the money. But what I mean by this is not do it for the money, like you should join it just to do the money, but let's put it this way. If you're a musician and you're putting out something that people will want to listen to or consume, if you can't charge money for it, it's probably not very good. Okay? Now, I'm not saying you should do it for the money alone, okay? Right? Like, I know I started with do it for the money, but I was trying to be controversial, okay? I'm not saying you have to actually do it for the money, but when you're doing this stuff and it's a passion, if you can't charge a bar for you to go play, you know, to do a concert, or if you can't like put out songs on Spotify or whatever and like charge for the download, or if you can't like make a YouTube channel, create content, or charge for it, or have ads on there, then actually probably you're not creating that much value. You're not creating that much entertainment value, you know? And I'm not saying you should have to make money or that should be your goal, but I am saying that it's not wrong to want to make money in addition to what you're doing, and the ability to make some money on anything you have done musically indicates that what you're doing works and has value, because money and value are the same thing, right? Like, we pay for value. So if people will pay to see you in concert, I'm talking people from your neighborhood, right? At your local bar, whatever. If they'll pay the $5 cover or whatever, you have value, right? And if you can't charge it, probably it's because you have no value. So I urge you to think that way in terms of your musicianship. And you are someone that is putting out entertainment value for people. You're creating songs, you're creating albums. You need to be able to give them value. And I'm not saying you have to do it for the money, but I am saying that you have to do it in a way where you at least could charge money for it, you know? And if you could, I just don't see why you wouldn't. So that's my point. Those are my top 10 mistakes. Tell me what you think. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Have you seen many of these? There's some that you think should have been on the list and weren't. Let me know. And if you like what you saw, like what you heard, hit the like and subscribe buttons. And until next time, guys.